who's on the line, go through a couple of things. I will let everybody know, due to open meetings law, this will be recorded. And also, before we get our agenda rolling, I want to know if there's anyone on the line that maybe we don't know. We want to make sure that we have a full and complete meeting minutes. And so, Ryan, I'll turn it over to you. You can check and see if there are any names you don't know that you'd like to add. And then we'll also open it up to the public. If they would like to speak, we can be added. We'll allot you some time during our public comment period. And so with that, Mr. Stokes.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, everyone. Everyone hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right, great. Thank you for joining us today for Buffalo Water Board August 2024 meeting. Once again, this meeting will be recorded. I'd like to introduce a couple of housekeeping measures. To reduce the amount of background noise, please stay muted until you are ready to speak. At the time you are ready to speak, please state your name and affiliation for the record. I'll now start taking roll, starting with the board members. After I say your name, please state here present. I'll start with Chairman McFoy.
Present.
William Sunderland.
Present.
Gerald Kelly.
Present.
Deneen Jackson.
Present.
Ray Nosworthy.
Present.
Thank you, board. I'll now move to other regular attendees. Charlie Martirana.
Present.
Damon Rand.
Present.
David Hill.
Present.
Doug Fultz.
Present.
Kelly Lieb.
Present.
Matthew Adam.
Present.
Damon Sykes.
Present.
Peter Merlo.
Present.
Fuad Arab.
Present.
Bill Ferguson.
Present.
Lisa Foti.
Present.
Jack McMahon.
Present.
Stephen Waldvogel.
Present.
Dustin Steiner.
Present.
Christine Wingo.
Present.
Michael Wolaz.
Present.
Thank you. If there's anybody I missed, please unmute your line and state your name and affiliation for the record. Are there any others at Porter today? All right, hearing no others, I will send it back to you, Chairman. Thank you.
I appreciate it, Ryan. All right, board, if you would, please take this opportunity to review the proposed agenda that was forwarded out to you electronically and is available on our hybrid measures. Are there any additions or subtractions?
Is the fluoride update in here somewhere?
We will make sure to have a fluoride update by Mr. Merlo.
What do you want to put down?
Let's do that. Let's do that right before we talk about the residuals. So 6A.
Mr. Chairman, would you like update on the litigation at the end?
Yes, we can go into executive session to discuss litigation matters. And so we'll do that as the last item there. All right. Matter of fact, if possible, board, if we could do 5A as
We got five.
to speak.
We have five already.
Yeah, we do. We got a 5A, B, and C. But they're all in- Yeah,
These are the resolutions. and the-
We'll leave it at 6A for discussion on progress on our floor. Okay. All right. With those amendments, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Sunderland, so moved.
Deneen second.
The motion is properly seconded. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Sunderland, aye.
Deneen aye.
Kelly, aye. Nosworthy, aye.
Unanimous. All right, we will now move on to item number 2, approval of the minutes from the meeting of July 10th, 2024. Board, if you would, please take this opportunity to review the minutes as so sent out previously to make sure that they are complete and to your liking.
Sunderland so moved.
Denine second.
It has been moved and properly seconded that we approve the minutes from the meeting of July 10th, 2024. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Sunderland, aye.
Denine, aye.
Kelly, aye.
Nosworthy, aye.
Unanimous. Item number 3, public comment period. Is there anyone online who would like to be heard at this time? Please either raise your hand in the chat function and or speak up, and we'll allot you appropriate time at this time. All right, hearing and seeing none, we will move on to item number 4, which will be staffing update. Mr. Merlo.
Thank you, Chairman. Pete Merle, Secretary to the Board, Principal Engineer for the Division of Water. Some pretty major updates on this session. We have a new water treatment supervisor, Eric Macon. He's our new 1A operator. He signed the operator in charge. So we are not operating this facility under his license. We look for a number of years that we'll be doing this. So a little bit of stability, a little bit of good news here. We're still looking at the operators underneath him, but there are also some progress on that front.
Peter, when did he sign that?
Yesterday.
Which we have to the end of the month.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he would have signed it last week. He was on vacation though. That's why it took an extra week. So nothing like just, pushing it a little bit. Also, we have a new associate chemist. It's a new position board that you appointed. It is Elijah. She's been working with us. She also has her 1A operator license. So she is going to be running our lab under her certifications. She's excellent. And this is the first time in our history that we've had both a water treatment supervisor with a 1A and an associate chemist with a 1A. And really those two can kind of split those duties. You have an operator, that's what he does. And you have someone that knows the chemistry. So that's a lot of good news in those positions. They both happen at the same time and they both have the 1A. Elijah's will be the backup to this facility. So that's really some good news. We also have a new chemist and a new AFPO, I believe, on board. And on that, Doug, I don't know if you have any other details that you can offer beyond that.
Sure. Thank you, Doug Foltz, VLA Operations. Peter stole a lot of my thunder. Good news.
We're still working with the band.
It's fine.
Thank you.
We're still working here.
So yeah, the good news, OIC, the operator in charge was filled yesterday. Look forward to working there and getting up to speed. Just some highlights on the operations side. We are at 50% staff for filter plant operations. We did have one AFPO hired, which was great. So we're at 50% staff for AFPO. We are looking at pumping operations as the next critical one. We are 75% staffed at Colonel Ward, and we're 25% staffed at Mass Ave. Our pumping plant superintendent actually did request a leave of absence. That is pending, but I believe will probably be likely to go through. So at this point, unless there are any questions, I'd like to pitch this over to Damon Rand for customer service.
Whoa, wait, I have 25% staff is not a problem.
Yeah, that's
We're actively working with DPW to fill that. That's a tough role to fill. Yeah, so we are, the facility is unmanned at times, which we don't prefer to be the case, but we are working with unions with DPW to actively fill those roles.
What positions are those?
Pumping plant operator at Massachusetts.
And it's.
And they require a stationary first class operator license and really kind of some unique training there because that's typically in boilers, but that's the operator license required for that position. So it's something that gets pulled off the street.
That promotion, is that a promotional time?
Yes.
David Wren, are you available to advise on Exchange Street?
Yes. Good morning, board. Damon Rand, Customer Service Manager, Viola Water. And Pete, I hate to steal your thunder here, but that was some great updates on your behalf from a staffing standpoint. I'm like, I don't want to shed any negative light on it. But with that being said, I did just receive word, kind of been going back and forth over the past couple weeks, maybe month or so. We had finally became fully staffed from a meter reading standpoint back in April of this year. And this has been a struggle for us, kind of post-pandemic. So it's been a couple years that maybe 30-40% of our customer base were being estimated, receiving estimated readings versus actual reads. And I just got some, kind of tough news. Unfortunately, we are losing 2 of our meter readers, so we'll kind of be back to the state we were in post-pandemic.
Are they leaving water, Damon, or are they leaving?
I think they
position.
both are leaving water, Chairman. There's one gentleman, he's taking a state job, and the other gentleman, if I'm not mistaken, Chairman, he's going to streets.
Okay.
Heavy
And that,
equip-
as far as pay scale, those are kind of our lowest tier, right? Those are
Yes, it
people
is.
in the-
Yes, it is, Chairman. So just
Alright.
wanted to kind of make the board aware. We had just kind of, these guys were brought on in April. We became fully staffed back in April, and we kind of just cycled through, a full cycle of like a 90-day period of reading. And unfortunately, that happened in August, and looks like we're going to be right back at point A again here in September. So a little difficult, but of course, we will handle it. So currently working with Kellyanne and those guys to try to get these positions filled as soon as possible. Just praying that it doesn't take years to make it happen. So
Yeah.
just wanted to make the board aware.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Just one more note, just for reference, the headcount that's listed in the board report is actually the headcount for June. I think due to people being out of the office, we're gonna just make a little bit. So it is last month's numbers.
Okay.
It's noted as such.
Did you ask?
No, she was clearing with her. Sorry.
All right. Anything else from staff, I guess? Okay. I know we still have a lot of things we got to get done here, especially to kind of move us forward and keep us in a good space. But definitely the good news is there, but still a lot of work that we need to do to get some things moving. So thank you guys very much for that. All right, now we will go on to item number 5, resolution to authorize public hearing for the amendment of the schedule of rates. I'll turn that over to Charlie.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before you is a resolution to schedule a public hearing concerning the rate schedule adjustment that is being contemplated to become effective October 1. So this hearing would occur at your next board meeting on September 26th, and it would be held here, as well as allow for folks to participate by remote access. And we have a notice of public hearing to that effect as well. And the other aspect to the resolution is that it would seek to comply with the State Environmental Quality Review Act by designating the board itself as the lead agency for that review. So it's a twofold resolution, as I just laid out, and it would also direct that the proposed schedule of rates be made available to the public for review. So in essence, the notice of public hearing will be published in the Buffalo News as a general circulation document coming up in the next few days, assuming you approve the resolution. And there will be a publication as well in the city record through the city clerk's office. And the proposed schedule will become available for inspection through those vehicles. It'll be published on the website as well. So I would urge you to go ahead and approve and designating yourselves as lead agency. There is a State Environmental Quality Review Act Part 1, which is really just laying out the characteristics of Buffalo in terms of general environmental concerns. And at the next meeting, after you consider the rate schedule and any comments for the public hearing, you would make a determination with regard to the seeker implications of adjusting the rates.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charlie. I know that, we have our folks online, and we just, we close our end of year on June 30th, and we have our numbers. We know we kind of missed the mark. And so we need to take a thorough look at this and make sure that we are continuing to reinvest in our system, as well as also taking a look at our low-income programs and all of our rates as associated. So thank you very much. So for us, the board, we simply need to approve these 2 resolutions or
It's one resolution.
One resolution.
Includes the multiple components I mentioned.
Appreciate that. All right, so is there a motion to approve the resolution to authorize a public hearing for the amendment of the schedule of rates as well as the short environmental assessment form in our seeker work?
Denise, so moved.
Sunderland, second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Denise, I.
Sunderland, aye.
Kelly, I.
Nosworthy, aye.
Unanimous. Thank you very much. We'll now move on to item number 5A. Excuse me, we're gonna do 6. Storage tank evaluation, because item 5A, B, and C are already covered. So if we could have Mr. Merlo talk about storage tank.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Peter Merlo, Secretary to the Board, Principal Engineer for the Division of Water. What you see in front of you is a proposal from GPI. GPI has been working with, in terms of our tank assessments, our above ground infrastructure. They've been working, they've done the rehab for the Grover tank over there by Veterans Hospital. That was recently updated with structural work, concrete on the facade, et cetera. We're redoing the Kensington tank route for stabilization. We're also looking to see what's going to happen with our storage tanks in the future. Are we going to rehabilitate them or are we going to replace them? And we're at that decision tree. It looks like it's going to be replacement, but we also want to make sure we have time that our existing infrastructure can get us there. So this contract is basically like a term agreement for $75,000 for tank assessment services. This is probably going to give me about 1.5 years, and what this will allow us to do is inspect our tanks twofold. We currently have been doing this with them through ROVs. We keep the tank in service. We open the top hatch of the tank and we drop a remote operated vehicle in there. We can inspect that and we keep the tank in service. It's chlorinated, it's disinfected, it's operational. To do the next level of assessment, you need to drain the tank, get in the tank, access it, remove the sludge, kind of assess where the corrosion is happening, especially at the bolts, the connections, etc. That is a process that requires coordination, a little bit of a design to make sure that you're disinfecting it properly and making sure you're putting back in service, and it also making sure you're assessing it correctly with the methods that are up to date in the industry. That's what these services provide. I'm asking for $75,000 again for this contract, like a term agreement. That should at least get the assessment, can keep the board updated. We believe the tanks are in very good shape. The good news is, what we have some theory is our corrosion control that we add that minimizes or prevents any corrosion lead and protects our services. It does the same for all metals. It's the same chemistry. So it also protects a lot of our metal tanks, and we're seeing some of the benefits of that because, knock on wood, and we want to make sure if there are any bandies they have to put on so we can get to replace these tanks. So this is what this contract is permission for. Enter an agreement with GPI for $75,000. They're off our list currently on, and like I said, they've been our consultant here for the last couple projects because this is what they do. We have a guy named Andy. He works with the Water Authority. He's very good at tank assessment, tank coatings. So they're the firm of choice here. All right. Any questions?
Any questions, board?
What's Andy's last name?
English.
English.
I knew you were going to ask that. Thank God I just thought it.
Can you spell it too?
Daiglesz. I'm not going to do it again.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Merlo. Is there a motion to approve corrosion control services and tank inspection by GPI in the amount of $75,000?
Sunderland, so moved.
Denise, second.
The motion properly seconded. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Sunderland, aye.
Denise, I.
Kelly, I.
Nosworthy, aye.
Unanimous. Thank you very much. We'll now move on to item 6A, which will be a discussion on our fluoride project. Mr. Merlo.
Yes, Pete Merlo, Secretary to the Board, Principal Engineer for the Division of Water. In fact, yesterday, we met here with the Department of Health. They came to inspect our system to make sure it is substantially complete. And it's ironic, the first question that Jeff Kamani from the DOH looked up and said, well, the first thing you need an operator in charge. And Eric was at the meeting. We had the form ready to go. We were able to sign and deliver it after that meeting. So that checked that box right off the bat. So we knew that was the major portion, because without that license, we wouldn't be able to turn it on. So we met with the health department. We're looking for them to get approval that we have met the design requirements. We built it. We're going to be running it with water over the next week to 2 weeks to make sure any bells and whistles, make sure the pump works, the distribution, everything. We're scheduling the flow right now, probably for early September. We don't have a date yet when that's going to be delivered. And then we're working with the Department of Health right now to finalize our operating scenario. We actually turn it on how we're going to do it. And right now we're looking to do it in a way we're going to do it incrementally over time. It's good to make sure we never over-fluoridate. We do it slowly, make sure our system is working, and we're going to monitor that. We're working with Hazen and Sway right now to come up with a scenario where they're going to monitor our distribution system locally and throughout the system and measure for fluoride. Fluoride is the universal tracer. It doesn't go anywhere. You put 1.5 parts per million in, you'll have 0.5 parts per million anywhere in the distribution system. So we always know it's our water. So by sampling fluoride concentrations at different locations and profile them over time, I will be able to accurately tell you our water age, how water flows in our system. We have a model. This is an opportunity that you don't really get too often as a water utility. So this is the benefit of this. We're doing it. It's the Department of Health was in favor. They're endorsing this level. They want us to do it incrementally. Incrementally allows us also to better monitor it over time. They work hand in hand. So you're probably talking the incremental is going to be over a couple months, and then we'll be at full dose. And so far, so good. So really all good news on that front. Any questions from the board in terms of where we are? If you want to see some of the infrastructure, we can show you the tanks, the metering pump, Doug, I mean, that's readily visible. So again, just sometimes seeing it gives people confidence, until that switch is actually turned on. So
Are we doing some sort of, when we actually start incrementally implementing, are we doing some sort of press release?
We will be pushing that information out. Yeah, we've been working with the administration.
it's that
Make sure. I know it's not. We've been talking about how we do that, just to make sure that everybody is aware.
Peter, just a question if I may. So the location of where you inject the fluoride has now changed,
yes.
and is the method one of liquid or powder, or how does that work?
Well, now it's liquid. It was powder at one point. In fact, it was added as a base. Now we're adding as an acid, which hence caused some of the water chemistry questions as part of this. But it's one of the most powerful acids out there. That's why we had to build a system that obviously is designed for that. We're also getting the high grade fluoride. If you hear a lot of talk about fluoride, there's some low grades that come from other industries that have acceptable levels of contaminants in there. You work with Veolia, they made sure they got the best of the best. This is made just for the water industry. So we got a high grade product that is for fluoridation, but it is in an acid form. Hence the storage tank, the metering pumps, the piping, double wall piping, the containment, you have to be very careful. Operator training. So all this is, as much as having it physically built, that is just as important of a component.
Just to be clear, so the point of injection though is closer to the end after the clear well
It's at the end.
process?
Where is that again?
2 locations. If you are looking on DAR Drive from the water at the plant, you'll see our filtration building. There's a 90-inch conduit underground there in front of that we're injecting into. And there's a rectangular, I don't know if it's 5 by 10 on the other side of that. We're injecting that. So 2 underground conduits that both come from the filter plant that's here and go to the pumping stations. And they mix and go. The degree of mixing depends on where you're pumping from. You pump from Mass, you're going to pull a little bit more for the 90. You pump from Colonel Ward, you're going to pull a little less from the 90. That's why the metering ultimately is necessary to make sure we accurately dose at each location. But we're coming up with an operating scenario that allows us to do this over time until we can accurately meter at all locations. So again, we are moving things concurrently here like never before, not consecutively. Consecutive means one at a time. It takes forever. We're moving multiple prongs at the same time to kind of make sure this is the true critical path. If you understand that method, that's the weak chain in the link that you have to fix.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Merlo. So we will now move on to item number 7, residual system improvements. Time extension, Mr. Merlo.
Yes, sir. Peter Merlo, Principal Engineer, Secretary to the Board. This for time extension, we got a couple time extensions here. We're asking to continue this project till December 31st of this year. We're still finalizing the pump station that we talked about. I believe we recently got the material out of there, Doug, and I believe we have a path now to get that rehabilitated. I think we're kind of over that pump. I don't know. I haven't spoken to Arcadis in the last year or so.
Yeah, I have not had a chance to.
But it sounds like we're working to make that pump station happen. This is the last piece of that construction. Remember, I talked about that manhole that was probably 25 feet deep. We're rehabilitating that. That's going to allow us to capture the sludge and pump it into our lagoon so we don't have to do manual movement of materials. We can do it in one location. It's really a beneficial piece. It's just taking a long time because of the depth, the material in there, and the potential for water inflow. You have to terminate a pipe. If that pipe leaks, you're in trouble. So some of our pipe being underground is installed. It may be legacy, but it still may connect to some underground material, something we don't know about. So you have to be very careful. We actually had to do some of this construction underwater with divers. We had to fill up the manhole. Say it's going to be submerged, and now you're going in as a diver, so you can see if you can do the work. Well, that's more expensive. We tried to avoid that option, but that was the only way to allow us to. How do you get in there, stop the water? You got to cut the pipes to cap it, and it's a chicken and the egg. So that project is moving. That's the reason for the delay, and that's why we're here. Contractors keeping it open. He's holding insurances. We have this is an additional time. You approved a change order for some additional work for Arcadis, which includes some inspection time. So we're good.
All right, good. So this is just 184 additional days.
Yes,
Okay,
till the end of this calendar year.
all right. So board, is there a motion to approve the work done by Arcadis on our residual systems improvement for no cost time extension?
Sun-
Oh, go ahead.
Ladies first.
Okay, Denise, so moved.
Sunderland second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Any questions? All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Denise,
Sunderland, aye.
Kelly, I.
Osworthy, aye.
All right, thank you. Unanimous. We'll move on to item number 8, current various locations 1A, distribution system improvements, time extension. Mr. Merlot.
Yes, thank you. Peter Merlo, Secretary of the Board, Principal Engineer. 8 and 9 are very similar. These are 2 of our current projects. Of the 4 out there, each anywhere from $5 to $7 million. Water main replacement, bullet line replacement for the ordinances. These are 2 of the projects. The other 2, various locations, South and 2, will be ending this year. We're wrapping those up. We're looking to have those closed by probably the end of the calendar year, maybe end of November, depending on your Rusi and the 4th generation work. These 2 are going to be extended. These are various locations. They take it a little longer. Service transfers have been happening here, so we're looking to extend. There's still work to be done in here, so we're looking just for an extension of these 2 till June 30th, 2025. Now, right now, we have enough inspection to get us through the end of the calendar year. So I'm asking for this contract extension, and I'm going to be coming to you with an increase for inspection services in January or December for the inspection. The reason is right now, when I close out the other 2 jobs, I'm going to get about $300,000 back in unspent funds out of the million. We spent as much as we could. I can't get another location. That will cover the cost for the inspection. So it'll be budget neutral, but let me use that savings from the unencumbered spent funds in those contracts. We'll close them out at $7 million, $6 million, there's 300,000 left. Taking it back now. That will fund this, but that's why I'd like to get this approved so the contractors know they have the extension. They get nervous. And then I'm coming to you. We have enough CRI to get us through the calendar year. And it's a winter break. Once I'm in a winter break, I can make sure that I have the funds that it'll be budget neutral on these.
All right, I appreciate that. So just cover these 2. So one is work done and oversaw by Donato.
Which one?
Work
Both
done
are-
by Nova, and then the other one's by Candy.
Yes,
All right, I got you. And your both extensions are going to June 30th.
yes,
All right, so we'll handle them one at a time.
yes.
Board, is there a motion to approve a no-cost time extension for various locations, Group A, for work being done by Nova?
Denise, so moved.
Sunderland second.
Been moved and properly seconded. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Denise,
Sunderland, aye.
Kelly, I.
Osworthy, aye.
Unanimous. All right, now we'll move on to no-cost time extension for various group locations B through June 30th of 2025 for work being done by Candy Company. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Janine, so moved.
Yeah.
But he gave you one pass. He was like, "Hey, that's enough." All right, so motion and properly seconded.
Oh, I gotta change my notes.
Right, second. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Janine,
Sunderland, aye.
Kelly, aye.
Unanimous. Thank you very much.
I haven't even had my coffee.
I've had a cup and a half, and I'm doing pretty good.
All right, if we can move on to item number 10, water distribution system improvements, various locations 6. Mr. Merlo.
Yes, this is, as it says, this is number 6. We talked about, I had 6 contracts coming. I believe you've approved the first 5. We're moving into contract negotiations with the execution as we speak. This is the 6th one with Urban Anthony. This is a little bit different. This is actually looking at some rehabilitation work and replacement. So we're looking to a structural liner on Seneca Street, a long stretch. And this also includes DAR Drive, which they're going to design a structural liner. I think one's going to be fusible PVC. It's my guess the other one's going to be that cloth material, that we put in there and we expand. So we're looking to do those as well as replacement on Elton. So we're asking at this point just to fund the design phase subtotal, including admin, award, and survey for $395,270. And this is basically under our allocation that I had working with Lisa and Bill in terms of having funds for these 6 projects. We had a budget of about $2 million. We're about at 1.8 or 1.9, so we're on budget.
Okay. And just like you did previously, you have in here the dollars, but we're not moving forward with that construction phase.
Yeah, I'm only gonna, for this approval, it's only approving the design phase, and that'll be in the minutes of 395,270. I just put the construction in there because from my past, when I went to add construction phase services, I want people, this was the plan all along.
Understood.
We just do it in fun, so it's understood.
Sounds like a plan. All right, board, is there a motion to approve work done by Urban Anthony for design phase in the amount of $395,270?
Sunderland, so moved.
Janine, second.
There's a motion properly seconded. Are there any further questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Sunderland, aye.
Janine,
Kelly, aye.
Osworthy, aye.
Unanimous. Thank you very much. All right, item number 11, sodium hypo project. Mr. Merlo.
Yes, this is for an additional $87,500, not to exceed, for the contract with GHG for the hypo design project. The reason this happened is we kind of had to stop and pivot a little bit in terms of what we're actually going to construct. And part of this project requires a softening system once you inject that the intake, because you're going to use carrier water. Once you use carrier water, the chemistry is going to have salting. And we're going to build this in phases. We're going to build the hypo project while we're still using the gaseous chlorine project. And the hypo project is going to be ready to go. And then we're going to decide, as the utility, the proper time to make that transfer. And we're going to do it by location. We
I got it.
chlorine 3 locations. So in other words, we did a 30% design to the softening. I told GHG to stop. Focus on. So this is just to pay for the additional design and the different coordination that happened as a result of that. But I believe once we're there, we'll have a design package ready to go and move forward as planned. And then we're going to fund this with reserves, and then this will go to the next bond sale along with Mass Ave and the roofs.
What's the purpose of this? I don't understand it.
Okay. Great question. What we're doing is we're building a new system to disinfect our effluent. So right now we use gaseous chlorine to chlorinate our water. We buy it in cylinders. We pull that gas into solution, basically create like a bleach solution when you mix gaseous chlorine and water. We then apply that to our, at different locations to the plant. sometimes at the intake, at the head of the plant, onto our filters. So we disinfect, and there's a lot of requirements as to how long we have to have contact time with the disinfectant. So now, same theory, but we're gonna use a different method to add that disinfectant. We're going to add it as basically bleach, liquid chlorine. So you may say, why? Two reasons. Number one, the safety of chlorine gas has always been something that has been very highly looked at, regarded. We are scrutinized. It's something that could be heavily regulated. You could have a catastrophic event and have a plume of chlorine gas. We have a scrubber in place. We have all the instrumentation to minimize that. We comply with our risk management plan, but some people may say, let's get out of that business. And that's the way the industry is going. At the same time, supply may be an issue. If you have one supplier, which we did for a while, of a product that you need and can't drink without, you want more than one supplier. So we decided, the board, like they built backup power to make sure you have it, even though you hope you never need it. The board decided to go with our recommendation as well as she's to build this system so we can use that, so we will never have an issue with product. There's plenty of hypochlorite out there. The problem is, I hate hypochlorite. It's not easy. It's just messy. It's a pain in the rear end to use. It's more operational.
How do you really feel, Pete?
I don't like it, but we're going towards it and we're on the path. So I want to build a system and make sure we can do it so we don't have a hiccup. So I got one system ready, chlorinated. I build this system and okay, we're going to go to the head of the plant first. We're going to still use gas on the filter. We're going to go ahead of the plant first. It's working. Now we can take that off now we go to a different location. We can implement this. You want this, trust me, you want this flexibility as utility. So that's what we're here. It's all good. We're going to build, we're going to design and bid, or the first phase, which is the storage tanks, the treatment pumps, and the ability to discharge in 2 locations. The phase 2, because the system that's required to go out to the intake is going to go where the existing chlorine system is. So I have to demolish that to build the other one to go out to the intake.
Does this,
Phase 2 requires more coordination.
Peter, does this affect water chemistry at all?
We don't believe so. We believe the chemistry is the same. It's just a different method, because the ion itself, you're basically, once you pull chlorine gas in the water, you create liquid bleach. This is what this is. It's the chemistry to get it there. So I believe once you figure out the right dose of hypochlorite to equal the same amount of, the chemistry should work the same. There may be other things, Doug, maybe you can talk to that, and Dave, I know you have more experience dealing with the exact chemical. My understanding, the chemistry differences is such new.
It's a similar chemistry between the 2 products, where the fluoride is an acid phase.
Exactly.
Yes.
And yes, typically.
Great question.
And adding hypochlorite is typically actually better for the corrosivity. So,
Actually, I said that.
Here, I'll say one more thing to give Veolia some credit here. Another change which has already taken place is we redesigned early on the carry water system to bolster your existing carry water system. And they are performing that under a limit account right now. So that will be,
Let's carry water.
that's to carry the existing gaseous chlorine to the points of application. You had one system that we determined was vulnerable when there's major demand out in your distribution system, the pressure drops and you potentially couldn't deliver the chlorine. That never happens, except we came close recently, a few years ago. So at Peter's direction, we pulled that part out of the project, developed a separate bid package, gave it to them, and they're constructing that in an accelerated fashion.
All right. Thank you guys very much. Okay, is there a motion to approve a change order in the amount of $87,500 for additional engineering fees associated with our hypochlorite?
Sunderland, so moved.
Denning, second.
The motion is properly seconded. Any questions? Hearing none. All in favor?
Sunderland, aye.
Denning, aye.
Kelly, aye.
Osborne, aye.
Unanimous. Thank you very much. We'll now offer up item number 12, New York State DOT resolution for Best Street. Mr. Merlot.
Thank you, Peter Merlo, Secretary of the Board, Principal Engineers. I've been waiting to say this all meeting. Why?
No,
You're right.
Water engineer. So that resolution is to allow the DOT to work on the board's asset. They are actually doing some work on West Street. That's part of the Kensington Expressway changes that are upcoming. This is technically phase one. There will be 2 more resolutions to come in the future. This one is just to allow them to sell a brand new water main on West between Lincoln Park, I think it was, and Guilford, really. That's basically it. We'll have a brand new 10-inch main.
That was my question to you, because I know we have some things that may not be.
Yep, we've been reviewing the plans. Everything's
All
good.
right. So we'll be getting a brand new 10-inch main.
Any 6-inch that they're connecting to is gonna be 8-inch, new hydrants.
That's what I like to
There
hear.
are services, they will be replaced. If they're left, there will be replaced in the meter.
Remember.
That takes some negotiations with DOT, I'm sure, but thank you. So we appreciate the team. All right, and so now we're just approving this resolution that has to be signed to authorize the state to work on our assets. And so is there a motion to approve?
Kelly, so moved.
Yay!
Is there a second?
Janine second.
All right, is there a motion probably seconded? Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Kelly, aye.
Janine, aye.
Osworthy, aye. Sunderland, aye.
Unanimous. Thank you very much. We'll now move on to reports. Monthly report from GHD. Mr. Walvo.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Stephen Walvogel, GHD. As usual, I'll say a few comments and then turn it over to my colleagues. First, before I do that, I want to introduce Christine Wingo. Christine is a new associate at GHD. She'll be assisting with our Community Care Coalition as we start to get out into the communities. You may have seen her standing next to OJ during the press conference earlier or late last week, was it? And apparently she's already getting flack from her friends and family because she's on TV, you know. So yeah, so we welcome Christine. We're excited to have her well-known and respected in the community. She has an engineering background, but also an educator background. So we think it'll be good to connect with the community at different levels. We also have kicked off the Community Care Coalition effort where we've partnered with the Community Health Center of Buffalo and Open Buffalo. OJ, did a wonderful job at the press conference announcing that a few days ago. And we then conducted some training, which I wanted to show you if you care, where we've worked to train your staff, these participants. Let's see if this, so we had a all-day session at GHD, and we had a bunch of people in the office from the representatives. Christine led the training, even though she's been with us less than a month, demonstrating her credentials as an educator. It went really well. I got to be a little bit of a star, which this is terribly embarrassing, but that's Franchelle Parker. Many of you must know her from Open Buffalo. We were talking through how to identify different types of pipes. Mike Wolaz provided the samples for us, which we're very appreciative of, and we will continue to do this throughout the community with our partners. Ryan demonstrated the tap sampling and a whole bunch of other things. So just thought you might be interested in that. Anyway, any questions on that before I pass it off? Okay. Thank you for listening. So I'll turn it over to Ryan and then to Dustin, please.
Thanks, Stephen. So yeah, through our regular meetings with Veolia Engineering and 120 Water, we continue to prepare the lead program for the deadlines upcoming in October. We're navigating the optimal way to share data from a program management lens, and our GHD digital team will be meeting with Veolia and 120 Water to determine potential API integrations, as well as methodologies for providing up-to-date counts on service line material types and replacement data. We've made some updates to the getwaterwisebuffalo.org website after feedback from our community partners. So the service line inventory survey is now accessible from the homepage on both the static caption below the scrolling banner and on the scrolling banner itself. We'll continue to leverage our collaborations with the teams and look to the data to make future updates. If there's any questions, happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'll pass it over to Dustin. Thanks.
Thanks, Ryan. Good morning, board. Quick update. We're moving ahead on both the electrical upgrades capital project here, and obviously the flood mitigation and berm project on site, and also continue to work with the folks next door with City Parks and the Ralph Wilson Gilbane team as it relates to your protection of your assets over in the park. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you, board.
All right, thank you. Steve, Christine, could you explain your role? I'm clarify for me.
So I'm the technical engagement specialist for GHD. I have a background in industrial engineering and in education. I've worked in several different entities, and what I've served in this capacity is to assist with the partnership side with the community and engaging them and educating them on lead line replacement and all the tools and things that will come with that coming down right now. I am 28 days into this. And so I've been moving, the train has been moving very fast, but I'm learning and gaining a lot of information while I go around this process.
So you're helping people identify when they have lead in there.
So we're training individuals, our partners, we're with Open Buffalo and Community Health Center of Buffalo. Those two agencies are assisting us, of which they've already garnered 60 opportunities already with residents in Buffalo, offering them the information about the survey, asking them to join in the 311 TAP program, and to also identify other avenues of how we can know what materials they have in their house. So it becomes not an unknown, but what we know is an active.
Do you have priorities geographically?
Geographically, we're working with so Open Buffalo and the Community Health Agency. They're heavily in the Hamlin Park area, as well as Cold Spring. So those two areas are the areas that we're looking into right now.
It is the first time that Buffalo Water is performing some of these types of outreach. We're so granular and in the community. And so we are considering it as a pseudo pilot where we're learning and growing and building relationships that hopefully will springboard into next year with a broader public outreach to identify lead service lines, which is the first priority right now based on EPA inventory requirements.
Did you know that Hamlin Park and Cold Spring might have more lead? Or how did you happen to pick them?
Well, there's a number of factors for sure. Definitely those are areas that have a high percentage of lead. Second of all, those are areas where oftentimes the homeowners don't have the resources to take action on themselves. So we want to work with those communities because the EPA directs the water utility to serve under-resourced communities. And then thirdly, we put out an RFP, if you recall, for community groups to assist. And we wanted to select community groups that were already embedded in certain neighborhoods And those were the two community groups that had the best credentials and the most effective track record. And those were the neighborhoods that they were already kind of serving. So there's a lot of variables and factors that we considered when we selected them.
Okay.
OJ, do you have any thoughts?
That was great. That's covered. Any other questions for JFG? All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the report from Veolia Water. Mr. Hill?
Excuse me, David Hill, project manager for Veolia Water. Wanted to provide a quick summary of the customer assistance programs through July. We've actually got 1,764 customers signed up for residential affordable water programs. We've got 4,291 customers signed up for our senior programs. The ROW program continues to assist customers with leaking lead lines. We replaced nearly 1,700 there, 28 last month in and of itself. Promise Pay continues to engage our customers with payment programs. To date, they've brought in over $1 million. This past month, 65,000. The Buffalo, New York East Side Assistance Program, although we've heard potential rumors the funding's going to deplete, we received another check from them this month, 421,000. So that program has helped nearly 3,000 customers on the east side today. So good stuff there. Revenues for the first month of contract year 15, actual revenues came in around 4.1 million. We got a budgeted expectation of 4.6 million. Year-over-year revenues for July came in around 4 million versus 3.7 last year. So they 2% increase for the same reporting period of last year. Again, we've got some headwinds facing us on revenue, but the rate increase will assist those 3 years. So that should help. Limit accounts, wanted to touch on specifically one, I believe our specialty maintenance limit account is 85%. Or 86. So next month we will be preparing a list of projects to get that increased.
I'm assuming spoils too, and we're just getting started off, right? Spoils is at 76, it looks like 77, or is that last year? How's that work?
We, last year though, we looked at unlimited accounts, looked at the year before, and just did one, we just did, let's do that.
Yeah, large increase to,
We know what the projections are gonna be year over year, let's just do it.
Okay. We'll be prepared for.
Okay.
Oh, yes, yeah, we'll be great.
A lot of ongoing projects. Doug may want to add some insight into some of them, but it's been a challenging few months. We continue to work with the Buffalo Water Operations team, in the production department. We're at 16 and 37 positions there, and a lot of time is spent in the day-to-day operations.
That's the bridge being brought in?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, I'm like, what? Now I see that, bridge being brought in. Sweet.
No, just major projects, structural separations, obviously Eric Kelly continuing the full restoration in the area of the stone storage facility. I think the plan was to be wrapped up by August of this year. I think they're pretty close. It might push into September. There's some additional work they're doing to stabilize the opening of the stone storage area and widen that. So that will continue through the rest of the year.
We showed to Monty, Health Department, all of them.
Yeah, we did walk. They were more focused on the task at hand, but they did see.
Because that was a big thing, right? Oh, that's good.
Exactly. So they are addressing that. We are looking at roof repairs over at the filtration plant, or just roof repairs. Fluoride project is another one, so there's quite a bit going on.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much. You're welcome. Any questions? All right, hearing none. All right, thank you. We will now seek to move into executive session to discuss litigation matters.
Mr. Chairman, just to confirm, your next meeting is September 26th.
26 at 9 a.m.
Thank you.
It'll be held hybrid and here at Colonel Wood.
Presents public policy.
And so, is there a motion to move into executive session to discuss litigation and contract matters?
Sunderland, so moved.
Vivian second.
The move is properly seconded. All in favor?
Sunderland, aye.
Vivian second.
Oh, yeah. That was really aye.
Unanimous. All right, thank you very much. After we come out of executive session, we will adjourn, but at this time, we will not conduct any further business. So we thank everybody for their participation. Have a great day.